So I've already done Boom Boom Chico version 1, and now we have our version 2. And yeah, it is 10,000 times better. I want to take a quick little time out to give a special shout out to Chadley99 and Nick2, who kind of helped give me some good ideas for this. I know Chad is going to be doing also a similar video, or he's already put it out. So make sure you're checking out that. But yeah, this setup with Rafa is absolutely freaking stupid. Now, before I get into everything you need for this setup, please make sure you're giving a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Let me know some of your interested in seeing down below, whether it's for Rafa, Amon, Harlow, or Vex. Subscribe, become a member, and follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Byrdman778. I'll also be having this over on my Max Roll page here soon, so make sure you're checking that out as well. So first, let's talk about the weapons we're going to need. Obviously, we're still holding on to 3 of those weapons that we used in the original video: the Ruby's Grasp, the Divided Focus, and the Husky Friend. Divided Focus is honestly just kind of a fill-in. We don't really use it all that much. Most of the time we're doing mobbing, we're running between the Ruby's Grasp and the Husky Friend and using whatever ordnance we have, but we've actually added on the Chaosin as kind of our bossing weapon more than anything. It reads granted, and it's pretty much exactly the same as the original one from Borderlands 3. The biggest thing is those Torg stickies that are on it that are absolutely just demolishing targets. Let's talk about the Ruby's Grasp real fast. It says grasp, reloading the gun fires 4 homing copies. Obviously that is absolutely insane, especially when it's comboed with our class mod. And then the Husky Friend, that Husky auto turret, it has the alt fire mode where it's going to shoot out a little rocket companion that's going to shoot just targets at everybody. I really just enjoy this for just like adding extra DPS on the battlefield, especially in those mobbing scenarios. For our gear, we're going to be running a triple bypass. I love this in combination with one of our specializations now with caffeine, so I can get my action skill back fast. And also it's just great to have, the rep kit has 3 charges on it, and then also has a 30% chance to replenish a charge on kill, which we're constantly feeding into. New grenade. Last time we were using the blockbuster, we're now using the fire pot. Fire pot's absolutely insane. It says spicy, and it is absolutely spicy. It spawns homing stickies over time. Those homing stickies are absolutely insane because not only are they taking, just ordnance damage, they're also benefiting from gun damage since they are Torg, related. That's gun damage. They're getting splash damage. They're getting the elemental damage. You're dipping into a lot of stuff with just this single grenade. So obviously you're going to see the bossing that we're doing with this video. It's absolutely dumb. And then mine actually has overflow on it. I definitely recommend getting that. Just having an additional grenade available to you is always very nice. Grenade Zerker is going to be our class mod. Whenever Rafa throws a grenade or TDR gun, he throws an additional one. Absolutely stupid. Honestly, this is one of Rafa's best comms because, again, really feeds into this absolute explosive play style, and it's definitely a huge benefit. Like originally I saw this, I was like, this could be back and forth, and then I started using it. I'm like, oh yeah, that's amazing. We're running an onion as our shield just because I like the damage reduction it gives us. We're obviously doing a lot of kind of explosive damage. Sometimes that stuff affects us as well. So having that shallot shield on armor segment break grants immunity to damage for 2 seconds is definitely a huge benefit. And then finally, I'm running a TDR legendary enhancement with banger. Guns with TDR license parts use 50% maximum loaded ammo when calculating and throwing damage. So obviously using a little bit more ammo, but it's definitely going to help you out with that damage. And then Digi Divider, guns with TDR license parts have a 50% chance to spawn additional projectile on reload. Really great with, obviously Grenade Zerker that's already given us those double copies of everything. It's just going to add a little bit more onto there. When it comes to our skill tree, we are feeding into 2 trees, red and green. Let's start with red. We're obviously using Peacebreaker cannons. Rafa equips a shoulder-mounted Peacebreaker cannon, which fires at enemies in front of him for a duration, dealing kinetic gun damage. And then whenever we activate our action skill again, it's going to refund our action skill and give us a little bit of cooldown back. For our passives, we're going to be running 5 Insidiar for that extra gun damage. You definitely want to go into gun damage for this setup. Yurga, whenever Rafa critically hits an enemy, action skill duration is restored. Really great for just constantly keeping up our augment that we're going to talk about here in a second. 2 points into Maestro just to kind of fill us in and kind of just do that point minimum. Rafa gains increased skill damage plus 18%. Also running El Valentin. Rafa deals increased damage from all sources. The fuller Rafa's shields are, the greater the bonus. While Rafa's shields are at max capacity, double that bonus. Obviously just giving us additional damage on top of it, everything for free. We're going to be going down into the right tree first into asymmetric warfare. Indirect projectiles gain increased damage. Indirect projectiles include all action skill weapons, thrown guns, and projectiles not fired from your gun. Obviously, we're doing thrown guns with all the TDR chucks we're going to be doing, and then the projectiles not fired from your gun is going to count I believe for the fire pot with all those extra torque stickies it's going to fire out, so you're getting that plus 45 on that. And then also errant spark, 3 points into this, mainly because this is kind of our end of our point calculation, like where we're like kind of like spending our points, but still having a 24% bonus incendiary damage for our indirect projectiles. Do know that it is actually doubled for things that are already incendiary damage, which would be our fire pot. And then our augment is going to be that instant fort battle system. Rafa's Peacebreaker cannons also deal ordnance damage, and he deals increased ordnance damage while the cannons are active. And then whenever our action skill is active, when we click it again, it causes them to disconnect from our back and become a turret companion that begins firing at enemies in place. Additionally, it will occasionally fire grenades at targets. If Rafa has a grenade, it copies that grenade. So obviously, we're going to be getting more of those fire pots out there. Currently, you can see I actually have 4 points into confetti from my class mod. Rafa's ordinances deal bonus damage of his current gun's element. So obviously, if you add an extra element in there, it's just always going to be a benefit. And then in Green Tree, we're going to be going into Handshake Deal for the extra 15% gun damage. El Corazon, portion of Rafa's maximum health capacity is converted into maximum shield capacity. We like this a lot because it's going to make our onion stronger, and then it's going to feed directly into the last. Rafa gains increased gun damage and skill damage to lower his health the greater the bonus, meaning we're getting that additional gun damage, which is going to help out with all those torque stickies. 5 points in Artilleria. Rafa gains increased ordnance cooldown rate, 30%, definitely beneficial. We're going to do 3 points into Synergia. We're getting an extra 2 from our class mod, but whenever Rafa deals ordnance damage, he also deals increased gun damage and melee damage, and the effects will stack. So obviously it's a 10 stack availability, 10% per stack. We're definitely getting a lot of good damage out of that. And then I just got 2 points into Booming Business just to move us down to this final point. Whenever Rafa critically hits an enemy, he gains a chance to spawn a free grenade. And if we already have a grenade equipped, it will base it off that. And currently we have a 20% chance for that to happen. And then the final one is Hemolitions. Overdrive skill. While overdrive is active, Rafa may use grenades while ordnance cooldown at the cost of health. Every time the grenade is used this way, it costs more health until Rafa's grenade fully resets. Obviously, this is kind of that risk reward setup there, but trust me, feel free to down yourself with it. It's not going to be that big of a deal. You are going to pretty much be completely fine because those fire pots will absolutely nuke everything. We're going to explain here in a second kind of what your damage rotation should be with your gun and those grenades. So obviously we have our testing dummy right here. Big thing we're going to do, I'm going to kind of stand back here because it's going to blow me up. We are going to essentially just chuck out our turret there, get that extra damage. And we're going to throw as many of these out as we can. And then essentially you're just going to start shooting these until you reload. And as soon as you reload, all those other torque stickies are going to reload. And you can see we just hit about 14 million damage right there. Absolutely insane. Obviously you just saw our turret just shot out some more there. We can just chuck out some more. Obviously I've got some pretty low health right now just because I'm using the Hemolitions. But again, all those activating, we are hitting some pretty stupid damage. Let's talk about our specializations real quick. So obviously we're going to be going to Daredevil and Runner. First up for Runner, Bullet Train. The Vault Hunter now hip fire while sprinting and gains gun damage the faster we move, obviously boosting up our gun damage. And we're getting all 3 of these Daredevil skills now with Caffeine, reduce action skill cooldown whenever Rev Kit is activated. Definitely beneficial for getting our action skill back. I Am a Gun action skill damage now benefits from gun damage, meaning our action skill is going to be doing more damage. And then a Honed Bind action skills gain a chance to critically hit enemies and also gain increased action skill critical hit damage. Definitely a benefit for just constantly making sure our action skill, that turret, is doing more damage. Finally, let's talk about our firmware. We're going to be doing a 3-piece Gadget Ahoy. Ordnance cooldown duration is reduced by 15%. Our ordnance damage is increased by 20%. And then ordnance kills grant 20% damage for 15 seconds, meaning boom, 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 everything is exploding. And then finally, 2-piece Get Thrown. Ordnance damage is increased by 10%. And then our splash radius is increased by 20%. Guys, I absolutely love this build. Actually, I'm not even kidding you. This might be like kind of my lock for a while. I am absolutely nuking bosses with it. This is definitely my farming build. Like, it takes no effort to like set this up, and everybody absolutely just gets destroyed. I mean, literally look at the Timekeeper kill. It is absolutely insane how fast he died. Like both versions of him. Getting to see like the now that's painful. Little words pop up is so fun. The oofs, all that stuff. So definitely a fun one to try out. Make sure you're checking this out over on maxroll.gg whenever I add it here in the next few days. Make sure you're checking out the other great creators over there. Like I mentioned before, Chadley was a huge help with this build, so big shout out to him. But we also got like Moxie, Abby Hour, Lewis, K6, Jolts Dude, and Little Gas Mask over on Maxroll as well. So show them some love. If you like this video, make sure you're giving me a thumbs up and letting me know something you're interested in seeing down below, whether it's for Rafa, Amon, Harlow, or Vex. Subscribe and become a member, and follow me over on YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch at Byrdman778. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the build. Thank you so very much, and I hope you have a great night, day, or whatever it may be.